Hello, and welcome to another episode of Garden to Table with Rose. I am Rose, and I am gardening in Kalamazoo, Michigan, Zone 6A, and I'm going to try to do a tour of the front and back to just let you see what's happened, because it's changed a lot now that it's, mid-June. So I am over here by my back gate, going into the backyard. So it's a side driveway, and the little peppers that I put up here, that I thought were goners, so I just threw them up here because they were looking sickly to start. They're growing amazing, and they actually look healthy, so I'm glad about that. So there are lots of like hot peppers, bell peppers. It's just a mix in there. This is verbena, which is an annual, but it gets these crazy purple flowers and it's very tall, so I kind of like that. I wanted to try it out. I would probably like to have that over in the new section because of the color and the height. So over here, nothing's changed other than things have gotten bigger. The daffodil foliage is finally all dead, so I need to come and remove that once it cools down. The status is still small, but it's getting taller. Some of the stock has started to bloom, and I don't know why the stock is so short. Maybe this was a short variety. I'm not even sure what variety it was, but obviously I won't be using that for cutting, so that just is staying as landscape decor. We still have some gladiolas trying to come up here, and oh, look at that. See, they're setting buds at the tips. They're still very tiny though. Yeah. And then these are annuals here. These are zinnias. This rose, these are the two new flavorette roses I got. Something's been eating the leaves. This one's called Paired, and it's called that because it's made to be more edible than the average rose, meaning the flavor is different. That one's sweet. I just tasted that one recently. It has a sweet taste, very low hints of floralness, and so that definitely is a good one to use in cooking. So I'm excited for those to get big. So I got two pairs called Paired, and then the other two are honey apricot, but they're all by proven winners. That's the Paired one there too, which has two bigger blooms on it. And I just planted these, so I'm surprised they're even blooming. They came in little, 3-inch pots, and I just planted them maybe June snow 2 or 3 weeks ago. But yeah, that's a good one. And weeds are popping up, even though I literally removed every blade of grass and pruned it and everything. Weeds are still coming up, but I'm not weeding this section for a while because I'm working on the back. And then these little lavenders are still alive, thank goodness. Those right there, those are lavenders, so I have them going in a semicircle around the bench. And I decided to prune these little shrubs up into like a lollipop shape, so that's what I'm going to do with those. See how that works out. I don't know how that'll look once they get taller because they're kind of a pyramid. The thing I'll point out over here is that those Shasta daisies came back that I moved and were looking half dead and sickly. There's one there and there's one there. I'm telling you, those things are like almost indestructible. Shasta daisies. If you want something that grows fast, comes back every year, gets a big, get yourself some Shasta daisies. Over here, it is full and lush, man. I'm telling you, I have another little hydrangea here. I'm not sure if this one is a little quick fire or what. The pink Astilbe is looking good in there. And then this, like I said, is a little hydrangea here that's not supposed to get too big. I hope not, because it's pretty crowded in here. There's even some like little mini carnations down in there that I probably need to get out of there, maybe in the fall. And then this whole line along the edge is cutting mums. There's another hydrangea that I'm trying to train up into a tree form. This one here. The sunflowers I planted in little pockets where there was gaps throughout the landscape. They are getting ready to open up, and then I can cut them. I plant these to use for cut flowers. Sunflowers, I plant, a few every couple of weeks. These two big leaf or oak leaf hydrangeas, one is Gatsby Star, and this one is Gatsby Moon, and it has huge panicles. I've tied it up, but I think I need to do a better job of staking. But those panicles are huge, and it's floppy as heck. This is a Pinky Winky. I have one on each end, and it's also setting flowers, and the Pinky Winky has a more open panicle on it, and it has really sturdy stems. It has some of the strongest stems I've seen on a hydrangea, so it has never needed staking so far. And it's beautiful. They're kind of a pink, more of a pink bloom. This is the Gatsby Star, and I only know this because, there are signs, but they're, as you can see, buried now under all this mass. But I know this because the bloom looks like a star, and it's a more open kind of panicle. But it gets huge, as you can see. Here's my hand, and that's much longer than my hand, and I have long hands, long fingers. My roses have been weird this year. I've had these same rose bushes up here since I started this garden up here, a couple of 2-3 years or whatever, and I hadn't had any problems with them blooming and everything until this year. I've taken out 2 already. 2 just died. I don't know what happened. They didn't seem to have any diseases or anything. And then I have decided, executive decision, at the end of the season, I'm taking out, I've already cut all the blooms off of it, but I'm taking out this climbing rose. I purchased this by accident. I thought I was getting a regular bush and ended up with a climbing rose, which was the last thing I need. So I've had it there and just trimmed it pretty routinely, to keep it in this little tutor that it's in, but I want to take that out, and it's getting crowded over here. These 2 Gatsby hydrangeas get huge, so I take that out. That'll give them room to stretch out. These mums are getting bigger. They're bigger this year than they were last year, and I didn't even know if they would come back because I was told that cutting mums are annuals. But as you can see, they've come back bigger and better. I love the cutting mums because that's one of the few things blooming once it starts to get cold. And they, the frost will take them out, but when it's September, October, sometimes early November, that's kind of the only thing you can really get out of the garden. That and dahlias, and maybe asters. One of the reasons why I wanted to come do this now is because the lilies are opening. As you can see, these are huge lilies. They're up to past my waist. And they don't stay around for very long, just a couple of weeks, because once they open, then all those petals are going to start to fall off. So I wanted to make sure I got video of them. And look at that white astilbe. Oh, I love that white astilbe in there. This is another hydrangea called the Sublime, and this one, now you can see the panicles start out dirt green. Now they're turning a little bit pink. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know what that is on the leaf. I don't like that. But as I recall last year, it seemed like to me there was a lot of just green, like they stayed green or went back to green or something. I remember it being green blooms, and it looked very different than my other hydrangeas. My apples seem to still be doing well. I've been spraying them every couple of weeks because these bugs are relentless out here. And I want to actually be able to eat an apple this year. So hopefully they grow and do okay. But I got apples on that one. I don't think there's any apples on the first one this year. And this one set fruit. And here there are 2 red varieties and 1 green variety. I cannot tell you the specific cultivars. They are called Kalamazoo apples, and I got them all from Stark Brothers, which is where I get most of my trees, or got most of my trees. And so if you go to their website, starkbros.com, you will find Kalamazoo apple trees. They're made for small spaces. They're not going to get that much wider than that. And really, I could have pruned it to just one central leader, but I left kind of a fork just in case one didn't do well, so I had backup. But I like the two forks. I think I will leave it that way. The only other thing up here that has really changed is this 9-bark. Look how tall it is. It's almost as tall as me. It's beautiful. That I don't know if that's summer wine or it might be called Black Panther or just Panther, something like that. But that's a beautiful one. And I have several 9-barks because they make a good cut flower filler. It's one of the few that comes in this dark red, brownish copper color. So I have several. I have green ones too. Let's see. Let me try to spin. I spin too fast. The window boxes are still alive. So I'm happy about that. As you know, I've struggled with these window boxes. Things are looking crispy, so I'm gonna water, which is weird because it doesn't get any sun, so I don't know why it's so crispy. But anywho, I'm gonna water those this morning because I'm trying. I did take out the pulmonaria that was in the middle of these because it wasn't dead, but it was not thriving. It wasn't greening up. It wasn't growing. It was just staying the same way. And like I said, those are a little bit expensive, so I did not want to lose those. So I took them out and moved them over to the shade because there's a perch shade plant. And luckily, these little petunias like this pot. The only thing I can seem to grow in here, the Dusty Miller is still surviving. But so luckily these are filling in, and they're kind of hopefully will fill in the pot, so I don't have to worry too much about anything else in there. I'm done with those pots. I may actually take them off the porch. I like them there because in the other seasons I have these little fake domes that I put on them in different colors for decoration, so like in the winter and fall and stuff. So that's why I kind of like them there, but I don't think I'm gonna try growing any living things in there in the future. Let's see, over here I got a bunch of this yellow yarrow, which is coming out at the end of the season, but I do like to dry it. It makes a good dry flower, and I use it in wreaths. I make a dry flower wreath every year, a huge one. So I'm going to be using all this yarrow and that, and then I'm pulling those out because I will grow no more yarrow in the front. Tomatillos are getting huge. I just threw those here because I needed a spot to put them in. I do not need, I don't know, 10 tomatillo plants, 15. I don't even eat tomatillos that much. I just like a tomatillo salsa every now and again. But I'll probably make salsa and can it. But we'll see how many fruits I get. And then the white echinaceas are finally starting to bloom. I love that echinacea comes in all colors now, like the whole rainbow, really. They've bred them. But I do like the white ones, and I have I think 4 of those around the garden. Back there, those two are ruby slippers, hydrangeas, and I believe that's an oak leaf, and they, as you can see, have their blooms on them. Then this is a scabiosa that comes back every year, this white one, so I leave it there. It looks kind of wild, but I love the blooms on it, and they make a good cut flower. Over here, these are all annuals. Calendula, there's a lot of that. This looks like a weed. I don't know what's happening with this tall thing, and I don't like it. So I'm gonna pull that out. So a lot of times I can't tell the difference between a weed and a flower until it actually gets mature. So moon rock hydrangea, which are another one on sturdy stems. I believe that's one there, and then there's one over there on the end. There's an old school Annabelle there that I just love, those big round heads, so I keep it. These two are pufferfish hydrangeas, which are just now starting to flower up. I gotta hurry this up, bugs are starting to get me. And there's a little bit of pink is still being there. I think I moved some from the other side. So in the fall, I'm gonna, when I dig out this yarrow, it'll give these other things some room, and I may move a couple of the hydrangeas around because they're getting big. So I may take There are two variegated hydrangeas. You can't see them because they're so small and being swallowed up by all this stuff. But in there, in that mess, there are two variegated hydrangeas. So I may move those over to the front, so where all these yarrows are, or I may move the puffer fish, the two puffer fish, over to the front. But I'm not sure. I have to check how tall those get because I want a shorter one in the front. And the variegated ones are growing so slow. I figure that's a good one. This definitely has to be divided in the fall. This is either one or two artemisias. This is year 2, I believe, and it is huge. It's like 4 times the size it was when I bought it and put it in the ground, or more. So I'm gonna divide that up. I have a friend I think that wants some, maybe wants some, and then I'll just move it around to different sections. I'll move some over to that new section because that color is I like having that color sprinkled throughout. These finally started blooming. Nephira or something like that. I can't think of the name. Red Hot Poker. But this was supposed to be a green one that I ordered, and I ordered 3. Only one has come up, and it is not green. It is orange. So I don't know what happened. It's supposed to have a green bloom. So I don't know if they sent me the wrong thing or what. But it at least matches the color scheme. I mean, when these things are in bloom, everything over here is done flowering. That baptisia was a purplish, yellowish, orange. There's some paprika oranges, little also easy roses, and there was a purple. This whole big salvia thing was a beautiful scene, and so that actually matches those colors, but it was supposed to be green. That moon rock hydrangea is upright and beautiful, and right behind it, another issue that I may have to address is my little variegated maple tree, which is growing. But my thought is, as the maple grows, I want to limb that up like I did this cherry blossom tree. And so if I do that, then it should not interfere with this hydrangea really too much. So I shouldn't have to move it. That's the thing. You know, when I plant everything, it was so tiny. I can't plant it close together so the garden can look semi-full. And now that everything is, starting to get bigger, you see the spots where things need to be moved. Oh, let me get to that. I have not trimmed my trees. I have to do my final pruning at the end of June. And I do that to keep them short because I don't like these trees being more than 6 feet, because I have to harvest from them, and I want to do that at ground level as much as possible. The only thing I'm letting reach its full glory are the 2 red buds and then this cherry blossom tree, which I'm going to still get my ladder, and what I'm going to do is prune the top, because as you can see, this was standing straight up, but it's getting really heavy because it has so much on it. So I'm gonna prune the top so that it can branch a little bit more to possibly give it more stability, but I like it limbed up like that, so I don't want to get rid of that shape. And then my persimmon trees that I thought were gunners, look at this, it's like a whole new tree has come, but it looks like a shrub, so no idea what's happening there. And I'm not going to try to figure it out. Shasta daisies, look how tall these are. These are at least 4 feet tall. And like I said, Shasta daisies, they're reliable. This one is huge. And I think this might be, I might only have one on this side now. I think I've gotten rid of most of those too. But I'll leave this one. It flowers nicely. It's nice. It works. And then a lot of the stuff is done flowering that flowered early, and now we're waiting for the stuff that comes in the summer. These beautiful roses. Oh my God, I hope I don't lose any of these, because these are a little bit more fancy, a little bit more petals and kind of cabbage looking roses. And these are ones that over here that I got from what is it, Perkins and Jackson, or Jackson and Perkins. And so far they seem to be doing well. There are 2 hydrangeas here, which I may have to move one. Again, I put them very close together for some reason. This one is taken off I could not tell you the name. Something like maybe Little Quick Fire, Invincible Lace. This one's Invincible Lace, and there's another one back here, and I don't know which one that is. Maybe that one's Little Quick Fire or something. Invincible Garnetta, maybe. I got a question mark on the little tag. Like maybe. I wasn't quite sure. But anyway, that one has to move because this one is getting huge and is shielding out that one. So in the fall is when I'm moving things. I will take that one and move it. Where am I going to move it to? I don't know. There's a big open spot in there. I may move it in there, or they need shade. I think that's why I moved these over here. They were getting a lot of sun. They were on the other side, and they were not happy, so I moved them over here. So that I have to move. Either it's going to go up in there, or it's going to go towards one of these edges, so it can stay in the shade. But that's all I got really happening in the front. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible. There's another hydrangea that I need to move that I thought was just a goner, so I just plopped it there. It didn't like full sun either. That's a Zorro. It has black stems. It's very unique. So that one I need to move out as well. I got rid of almost all of the Bupleurum because I didn't want as much. I had a garden full of it, which I love it as cut flower, but I can't use that much. I'm just making bouquets for me and occasionally for a friend. So I just left a very little bit to reseed because it reseeds readily. There's another nine bark in there that grows very slowly. That one's approved in winters, but I can't remember the variety. My apple trees and pear trees on this side over here look pretty good. I've been spraying them, so the leaves are looking much healthier. Nothing's eating them. A lot of people are against sprays, but I don't know how you grow edibles, fruit and vegetables and stuff without using something, the organic ones at least, like the BT and stuff, which is what I use because bugs are relentless. They will eat it all. You will have nothing. Anyway, these two here are two more Gatsby oak leaf hydrangeas. I can't remember what kind of Gatsby. One is Gatsby Gal, I know that, and I don't know what the other one is, but they look very similar, as you can see. The only difference, and I'm trying to see if there's a difference. These, there's an opening at the tip. That's the only difference I see, where there's no little flowers, and the flowers are small. This one, there's not as well. There's still a little opening. The flowers on this one, I don't know if you can see that, are bigger. That's the only difference I see. The panicle is longer than my hand. And on this one, the panicle is a little bit smaller because it's shorter than my hand. And the flowers, I don't know. They kind of, I thought they were maybe smaller, but they kind of look the same size. So those look almost identical. Maybe they turn different colors, but they are two different names, cultivars, both called Gatsby something. All right, and my rosemary didn't thrive like I thought it would once I transplanted it back out here. Maybe it's just tired, but that will stay out here. It'll die off, and I'll replace that with new rosemaries for next year. But that's all I got to say about the front because I'm trying to keep these short. Let me make sure I didn't skip anything on this side. All my tomatoes are throughout and they're growing, so I'm happy. This comes back every year, and I'm not sure if that's Hyssop anise or Hyssop or whatever, something to that effect. The pollinators love it, and I like the color, so it works. All tomatoes here in the front. I just expanded this bed so I had space, so I just threw annuals here for now. Plus it usually takes me like 2 years to get all the weeds out. Whenever I dig up a new area or expand into the grass, it takes at least 2 years for grass and stuff to get away and stop coming up regularly. So I just have annuals there, which is good because then when the season's over, I can just till, or I should say hold this whole area and just take everything out. So there are also peppers up here. I have more pepper plants that I put here, and they seem to be growing too, so I'm very happy. Tomatoes, a whole nother bunch of them. I'm not even really pruning these tomatoes. I haven't even staked anything. I might have to stake some of them. I'm just not doing anything to them but letting them grow with everything else. And I don't need this many tomatoes, so that's one reason why. I just wanted to make sure I got something, but there are probably 40 tomato plants up here. So there's no way I need that many. Even if I were canning this year, which I probably will with 40 plants, I don't need that many. So, and this is another one of the moon rock hydrangeas here. So that is all I have for the front. It is going to be 90 some degrees today. Oh, one of the roses I pulled out was unfortunately one that I really wanted and searched for, the Julia Child rose, which is a yellow rose that died. Don't know why. And I had to dig that one out. This one is looking as sad as heck too. This one right here. This one produces a white flower. I'm not sure of the variety, but I may dig that one out too. I may just there's the pink one and 2 red ones that are doing well. Those are the only 3 that basically are surviving or thriving over here. I don't know what happened. They were all doing well, but I may just take that one out. This mint julep I kind of want to leave because this is very unique. It has a green and yellow bloom, and I've never seen a rose bloom green, so I might try to leave that, but I'm going to take out that climbing one and these 2 that look like they're goners almost, and just let this be the hydrangea bed, which is kind of what it is. It's mostly hydrangeas with 2 fluffy herba vitae in there, flanking the ends. So that is what I'm doing. We've got 10 inches of rain. Look at my rain gauge. We've got 10 inches of rain over the last 2 weeks, which is good. I haven't had to water except for the pots. Yeah, it has been raining. We've had some violent storms. A little gnome guy, but that is all I have today for the front yard. And now I'm going to go to the back because I'm going to try to combine the front and back and edit this down so it can be relatively short. Ooh, I do have one yellow one coming up, rose that's doing well, so I'll definitely keep this one. This might be the Henry Fonda. I do love a yellow rose, man. Yellow and blush, like a white or blush pink, any kind of like a blushy pastel color, apricot, blush, like a light purple. I just seem to gravitate towards those now. Oh, I got some jalapenos over there, and they have flowers on them, so cool. And then that's a red bud. Oh, I love that tree. That one is called Vanilla Twist. It's going to have white flowers on it. Usually red buds have purple, lilac colored flowers. So I am very excited. All right, now we go to the back. All right, I'm gonna do a very brief tour of the backyard because the backyard is always in disarray. This is my working garden, meaning this is where I grow stuff for production purposes only, really, not for aesthetic purposes. So I have been harvesting peas finally, and these are so delicious. I love snow peas and sugar snap peas. These I try to pick when they're fairly small because I like them just quickly stir fried or even raw, like in a salad or something. So the purple ones, if you cook them, they will turn green. So you if you want to preserve those, you probably have to, pretty much have them raw in a salad if you want that pretty color. But they're still producing. This is a good spot for them. I think I will keep them here for next year. It's kind of shaded because it's in the corner of the fence, so it stays a little shaded, a little cooler, which is good for them. Carrots in that one, I don't know what I'll get. I have had no success at growing carrots. I have been gardening for now at least 10 years with like vegetables where I started, and I have never been able to grow good carrots. They are always too tiny. I thin them out and they're still tiny. So I'm about ready to give up on carrots. That's an echinacea there, the traditional purple one. And then there's one of the white ones there. And the echinaceas, the pollinators love them, and they do make a decent cut flower, especially now that they have all the different colors. I planted marigolds all around because they're supposed to deter pests, and I had a lot of seeds. I do cut them from time to time. I know people complain about the smell, but it doesn't really bother me. My berries over here are doing well. They're all lush and green. I have still yet to get anything off of these jostaberry bushes, but they're huge. There are gooseberries on the gooseberry bushes, and there are currants on the little currant bushes. And like I said, I usually just make jams with those. What else is going over here? Lots of hellebores are over here, and lots of peonies, which are done blooming. The few that finally bloomed, they're not very old. I put all the dahlias in bins and pots, basically, to make it easier for me to dig up the tubers, to save them. I'll probably save a few for next year if I can, so they're just easier to dig up when they're contained. That purple clematis is flowering again. It's beautiful, but it's kind of crowded out. The hyacinth bean vine there, it's in there, but it's growing super slow. It's only probably about 6 inches tall. So I don't know what the deal is over there. I pulled out all the strawberries that were over here. I just decided I wanted to start over. The only ones I left there's some in these grow bags that are sitting here in this line. There are 3 grow bags, so I left those. And then I got new strawberry bare roots, and I put them in these 3 grow bags, and then I put a bunch of them in this bin here. I decided all of my strawberries I want in containers because it was much too difficult for me to keep the slugs away, and they got most of the ripe ones this year. So I'm going to remedy that by getting them out of the ground. Plus they sucker all over the place, so they were spreading, and I can't have that because I have limited space, so I need things to stay in its place. And then just going to kind of go around the perimeter. There again are a bunch of hellebores and peonies in here. Over here are berry bushes. These are raspberries and blueberries that don't get very tall, interspersed with a couple of annual flowers to give a little color. There are blueberry bushes back in those little cages to keep the bugs away. There are probably 2 of them actually have blueberries on them that are not ready. But yeah, I have to keep the birds away, so if they get fruit on them, I usually try to put some kind of little wire cage or something around them. This feverfew I planted really just to have something flowering over here, and I like it. I like it as a backdrop there for the bench, and then the fountain, and then the Mother Mary statue. So that's a nice spot. I love this little area of reflection and prayer and all that good stuff whenever I have a chance to sit down, which I don't do a lot of. These are eggplants. I got I think that's honeydew, and then I planted watermelon, these little sugar baby watermelons. I planted one in that pot, and I planted a couple in the ground, and they just don't want to come up for me. I have yet to see a watermelon plant, but anywho, more marigolds and dahlias in these pots, and then potatoes in pots. I usually do those in pots. It's just easier for me to harvest them. Onions, they're not getting very big, which this is good soil, and I definitely fertilize and everything, but it seems like only a few are getting big. But I had so many. I bought, those bags of the little bulb ones, and I mean there was like 50 in each bag, and I had like 3 different kinds, so I did get a lot of them. I cleaned out all the Biopleurum over here except for this little patch because, like I said, it reseeds heavily, so I don't need a ton of it to get what I want. So I'll leave that, and then once it goes to seed, what I do is I take the seed and sprinkle it where I want them to grow next year, and that seems to work just fine. Lots of larkspur here, and then the delphiniums are finishing up. As I said, I'm not using delphiniums for cut flowers anymore. They're just too tall, too big for anything I would need. Larkspur works, but I find that these, like larkspur and delphiniums, they seem to lose the petals so fast. It seems to me they don't last very long. And so I'm not really into even growing the larkspur anymore. Honestly, it's pretty. I leave it as for the pollinators, the purple and the pink, but I'm probably not going to grow it for a cut flower. I'll probably just grow it as an ornamental annual with the rest of the seeds I have going forward. There is a couple of yarrow plants back there. I see some yellow standing up nice and tall, and that's all the yarrow I will have. Everything else is coming out except for this little patch. I think there's about four yarrow plants over there. And dill, this is bouquet dill, I believe, to use in flower bouquets, but you could also use the fronds for cooking, which I do. So I just started cutting off some of that. I only have one Dara coming up right there, but it looks good and I'm happy about that. The bells of Ireland, a few of them did get a little bit bigger finally, and so I was able to cut a few using arrangements, but last year they were twice that height, so I don't know. I guess it was the weather. These have yet to bloom. They're growing so slow. I planted these peas at the same time as the eating ones. These are sweet pea flowers, and yet they're growing so slow. It's a mass, but extremely slow growing. Some of the dahlias have started to bloom in these pots, and I'm going to have to cut those, the ones that are blooming, because one, they're not really tall enough, and I need to encourage it to produce more. I've planted zinnias here in this empty spot. I pulled out a lot of the columbine because that was all gone. I left a little bit. Hopefully it comes back next year because it almost seems like a perennial here. There are a few snapdragons in there that I've been cutting, but I didn't get a lot of snapdragons this year. Just a few. That one's really pretty. It's tall and erect, and it has white and orange petals. What else? Asters are all in here, which are perennials. Then I have a couple of grasses back there that I use for filler, and lady's mantle's done, so that's kind of dormant. I put more of the cutting mums here in this little row. I got some new ones. The Incredible hydrangeas are actually blooming. I'm very excited. Look at that. Now this is the Incredible white one, and this is the Incredible blush, which I planted later than that one, and it seems to be doing better. But oh my god, look at that vibrant color. I really like those. My goal was to plant shrubs along this fence line to form a hedge, and the reason why is because I want to deter my dogs from jumping over there and into my garden. So I was trying to create a hedge of shrubs and stuff here so they would be discouraged, but we'll see how that works. I do have a whole line of bags over here that have squash in them as well as potatoes. You can see my berries. I don't know if you can see it, but they all have berries on them that are, still green for the most part, but they do have berries. These haven't done anything this year. This one only has a couple of stalks on it. I don't know if it broke off. The canes broke off in the winter. Sometimes that happens. They get brittle, or bunnies come chewing on them, and the dogs running through there. So this one also was, most of the canes were broken. So these 1, 2, 3, which one is a Marionberry, one is a boysenberry, and one is a Loganberry, I believe. They will not give me fruit this year, but as long as I keep them healthy, I'll get fruit next year. Squash in these bags, and those are potatoes. The grapes are doing pretty well. One kind of died all the way back, that one right there, and that's a Concord grape, but I have 3 Concords, so that's fine, because the only thing I do with Concord grapes is make grape jelly. Maybe I'll make some grape juice, depending on how many I get. There aren't very many grapes on these vines. I keep all of it trimmed up. I don't allow any limbs to grow past the top of the trellis. And then what I do is I have 2 like a split for each vine, and then I tie the top of it to this top line, wire line, and then I let like 3 or 4 little branches hang off of that, and those are the only branches that will give me fruits. So that just keeps it neater. It keeps air circulation, because this is fenced in, so air doesn't flow back here as freely. So I want to avoid any kind of mildew, rust, pests, whatever. Air circulation is extremely important, and that seems to work for me. I don't really need a ton of grapes. The rest of this row is for annuals, and I haven't even planted more. I'm probably going to plant some sunflowers here soon. There's brown-eyed Susans and black-eyed Susans you can't see, but in that middle row, I just weeded this row. So I just started working on my weeding of the back, because I spent so much time working on that front and that new garden. And so I started over there. And slowly but surely, I've been working my way. Now it's been too hot. It's too hot this week to do much of anything, but I've been working my way, weeding each row, and getting it in shape. And I'm about right here, close to the end of this grapevine section. And so this other section is a hot mess, because that weeding hasn't even began over on this other side. So please understand that. In that back thing back there, I got a lot of brassicas growing. The cabbage mouse still got to them, but I just harvested all the cauliflower. There's broccoli. It doesn't seem to be heading up or doing anything, and it's hot now, so I don't think I'm gonna get any broccoli. But I got kale and collards in there, and Swiss chard. This right here is a Rose of Sharon, but it's a white one from Proven Winners, and it's not supposed to get too crazy huge. There's cherry tree. Pretty soon I can cut back these fronds of the asparagus patch. I'm just trying to let them turn brown first, but they're wild and falling everywhere, but I'm trying to let them store energy right for the fall. There are a couple of squash in the ground here. You can see those big leaves standing up. This is all weedy, but the thing is, it's weeds that are easy to pull. I get a lot of this clover with the yellow flowers, and that stuff comes up with no problem. It's really easy to pull. The only thing that's hard to pull is this weird grass stuff that looks like crabgrass. It might be crabgrass, but that's harder to get out. But that other stuff just comes right out. And right now it's kind of really serving as a ground cover for me, because it's preventing other weeds that might be more difficult to eradicate from taking root. So I'm going with it. And the pollinators like clover. They get nectar from it. But there's a bunch of herbs in here that are perennial herbs. They keep coming back, like that huge sage. I have tarragon, which I just took a lot of that and froze it. French tarragon, because you can't get that in stores around here. All my garlic, I'm waiting for that to be ready to harvest, which I guess in the next month it will be. And then there are some annual flowers in the back. There are another variety of alliums coming up here that I've never grown, but they're not ready. They're not flowering yet, which I kind of like, because all the other ones were done. This is all done, and it's weeds. There's a couple of gladiolus, but my plan here is I need to mow this little section. This is my tulip fields and alliums, so I need to mow that. I'm just going to get my little not the gas mower. I have one old school one that you push, like that has a wheel thing that rotates and cuts. I think that would be perfect for this. So I'm just going to go over that area, and then I need to mulch it with something, and I'm not sure what yet. I don't like using straw because it always sprouts. It always sprouts seeds, and then I have to go pull all those out. So, but I do want to cover it with something. I gotta figure out what. What else do I have back here? Oh, all these lilies just started blooming. You gotta see these, because these are so colorful and beautiful. Now these I do cut sometimes if they're not too huge, and I do use them in cut flower bouquets, but I don't cut the ones in the front. But I love this pink. OMG, this orange is so orange. I mean, it is vibrant orange. And these are new ones because I planted some in the fall. So these are new colors for me, because the ones that I had here before were all kind of pink and white. The yellow ones, another vibrant yellow. I like those. Oh, and I really like this one. Look at that one. Oh, it looks like paint was splattered on it. I don't know why the dogs are here. But yeah, and then there's one hydrangea. I don't know if this is another moon rock, but it seems to like it here, so I didn't move it. I had other hydrangeas over here, and I moved because I figured out that they liked full sun. Sweet William was this little patch over here, mostly Sweet William and sedum. Of course, all the Sweet William is pretty much done now. It's more of a spring flower. The sedum is growing. It's getting taller. So I have a whole bunch of sedum I put over here. This is a kind that gets pretty tall, and I like sedum in a cut flower bouquet. It's pretty, it lasts a very long time, and it probably will make a good dried flower. I haven't tried yet, but if I get enough, I will be drying that. My fig trees are growing, the 2 fig trees, but who knows if I'll get any figs ever. And there was just even more Sweet William back there, along with some weeds in the far back. But yeah, I just put it there because if you don't fill the space with something, then weeds will fill the space for you in a garden. So I just, a lot of times will just plant annuals just to have something growing there that's not a weed. And I haven't weeded any of the side yet. So, you know, I'm not going to go into too much detail over here, but I have a row of Limelight Prime hydrangeas that are getting bigger. I planted 8. One has died, the one at the very end, which was getting no sun because of this huge neighbor's oak tree or whatever. Plus I have this maple tree, so hardly no sun gets to that very edge. So that one died. My fruit trees are doing well. There's a variety of trees back here. I got cherries back here, nectarines, plums. There may be a pear tree and an apple tree back here. But in between the trees, what I've started doing is planting shrubs, because my goal eventually is to get rid of all the grass that is in this orchard. I call this my mini orchard, my orchard section. So I need to eradicate all this grass and replace it with wood chips. But that's going to be a slow process because it would cost a lot in wood chips to do that all at once. So I'm doing it over time. So what I'm doing right now is interplanting shrubs that I can use in cut flower arrangements in between the trees. Some of these, like this one, is just a branch that I took off of the pussy willow and stuck it in the ground, and it actually rooted. So hopefully it grows into a shrub. But you know, even here, let me see, I got like forsythias and dogwoods and pussy willows in between. This one's huge, in between the fruit trees. And again, I've been spraying my fruit trees. Back here I had a problem with a little bit of leaf curl, and so I got back on my spraying regimen with my fungicide, and that seems to have helped a lot. Again, I have to prune all of my fruit and nut trees at the end of June to keep them to a manageable size, but they're lush and green. I do like that. The doghouse that the dogs never use, I thought they would like it. They got a nice view. I mean, their view is of all the little trees, but they want nothing to do with that doghouse. So yeah, but that is pretty much the back, and you know, I'll continue to work on the back over the next month. By the time I finally get it all situated, it should be July. And then after that, it actually becomes easy, honestly, because after that, all I have to do is harvest, spray every 2 to 4 weeks, and grab a weed here and there as it pops up. So yeah, you just got to get to that point where your garden is set for the season, is what I call it. And once it's set, you're good to go. I have not put anything new in those green stalks. Most of them are empty. There are some herbs in a couple of them, but there's not much going on in there. Things didn't seem to grow very well in there, and I've always had success with leafy greens in those, like lettuce and stuff, but I couldn't even get that to grow this year. And again, it's new potting mix. I just replaced it, so I'm not even sure what the problem is, but I'm not sure what I'll put in there. Probably more leafy greens, but I'll probably wait because it's too hot. So I'll probably wait. These two big tall raised beds over here, they're doing well now that it's gotten warmer and they're getting more sun. I picked a lot of turnips out of that first one there, and that's kohlrabi, I believe that's left. My cucumbers are in those, and I still haven't finished the trellis because you still see the ladder there. And then I got some onions in the back one, and the bulk of what's in those two are Lysianthus, which are annuals, my favorite cut flower. So they seem to be growing now. I was worried about them because they've been in there for a couple of months and they're just now starting to grow. But that's all that's going on in my backyard. Until next time, bye bye.